European terror attacks and my response and advice. It's Tom here from the UK Preppers and Survivors Radio Network, and firstly I want to offer my deepest sympathy to all the families of the dead and injured that have resulted from the previous few terror attacks that we've seen, including the one last night in Germany, which is, in my opinion, where they're classed as a lone wolf, a right-wing, which I don't think it is, style attack, or an Islamic attack. The result is the same, as I'll discuss later, and that's panic. I felt that I should try to make some level of sense out of it all, and I have concluded that, in my opinion, we are seeing the beginning of a new level of attacks against us. The methods used have changed, and I believe they will evolve further with the aim of causing panic within the population and disrupting every day as much as possible. I have concluded that every single politician who has failed to demand that our borders be closed, who has voted to allow countless hundreds of thousands of economic migrants into our country without any security checks, is, in my opinion, as guilty as the terrorists themselves. France, Belgium, Germany. Now we even have service personnel attacked on our streets again. What is going on? From my point of view, the tail is wagging the dog. I can understand how they can simply move between EU mainland countries without any security checks. Any of us who have gone abroad on holiday, mainland Europe-wise, have driven, if they've driven in a car, have driven through borderless countries. But you know, the UK is an island, so stopping people getting onto it should be child's play. I mean, how difficult can it be to secure an island? One of the real problems is the number of radicalised Muslims who have gone abroad for training and then, believe this or not, been allowed back into the countries that they had been living in. I think at that point I have to say that it just seems to me that our politicians are like turkeys voting for Christmas. Thank goodness we're out of the EU. Perhaps now we will learn how to secure our borders. And if this government needs to know how to do that, perhaps they can look at the Churchill files, the Second World War contingency plans, and see how to secure an island. You know, the question is, why are our politicians letting trained terrorists into the UK in the first place? Now, personally, I don't care what the EU says. I don't care what they think when they tell us that we cannot deport known radicals. Surely it's up to us. Why is the threat posed by them allowed to continue? Why are our politicians weak at the knees and afraid to speak to protect their own people? Let's face it, in my opinion, there is no political will to reverse these situations. All we hear are sound bites and lies. So I'm afraid to say that it is we, that's you and me, dear listener, that must now plan for these attacks, whether during trips, visits, holidays, and indeed, you know, more and more in daily life. Our enemy has a network that seems to be active and thriving in the heart of Europe. Making the situation more dangerous is that I believe ISIS is now deeply rooted within Europe, using perhaps hundreds of jihadis who have returned home from Syria and Iraq to mould thousands more into a guerrilla unit or guerrilla units. And I think they obviously will be capable of striking even after what is called sustaining losses. ISIL's access to thousands of foreign fighters and its willingness to trade risk for headlines underscores what's going on and the threat the group poses here in Europe. In my humble opinion, it is only a matter of time before ISIS foreign fighters unleash their combat experience on high-value targets. I think perhaps we should assume that they are all, right now, ready to attack. I mean, could the Belgium reactor incident just be a training exercise, or perhaps a model? You know, such attacks could take place anywhere. I mean, all they have to do is to mirror the attacks that they've already carried out in Syria, Iraq and other places. After extensive intelligence gathering, Islamic State fighters would move into position using vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices, VBIEDs, or truck bombs to breach the perimeter, follow with a truck bomb as well, just, you know, to sow additional confusion, and then that would be before the fighters moved in. In the case of a nuclear facility, the goal would be twofold. One, to capture and remove fissile material, and or literally to cause a meltdown, in itself turning the complex into a dirty bomb. In fact, probably even worse than that. During the IRA attacks, we, as individuals, had to be very observant. We used common sense. You know, we usually had a warning of some sort that the bomb had been placed. However, this has all changed, as these terrorists actually want to die. There is no warning of any value, and their methods can vary widely, as we've recently seen. We've seen totally different methods of attack that have had the same effect on the locals and tourists alike. The Nice terrorist attack, the German tube axe attack, the German single shooter, all caused panic. The TV interviewers talked to people after people who had said they did not know what was happening, that they did not know what to do, that they did not know where to go. They simply ran with the largest crowd. We have to prevent panic. We can do that by assessing the risk, making a plan and implementing that plan. As preppers and survivors, we're used to preparing, aren't we? We're used to planning for the what-ifs and the oh-nos. Remember, it's what we do. I have thought a lot about what I would do in these circumstances. I have come up with these suggestions, if you wish, my plan. Okay, they're not written in stone, and of course can be adapted for the individual. However, I suggest that individuals carry a local street map or tourist map wherever they go whilst on holiday or travelling abroad, and that should have their accommodation marked on it. I further suggest that you mark on this map a route to your accommodation and an alternative route as well. Perhaps marked A and B, or use different codes or colours for each route. Written on the back of each map should be the accommodation telephone number. I put this on because perhaps I don't speak the local language, not able to call a taxi. So if I call the reception desk at the hotel or the accommodation where I'm staying, they usually have multilingual people on the telephones there, and that will allow them to order a taxi for me. There should be individual numbers of your group members on the back of that map. Numbers for the police and ambulance services, taxi number, and also don't forget any British consulate and or embassy that may be within telephone contact in the country that you're in. I think you should also mark the map with a recognised location for everyone in your group to meet up at should an incident occur and you do get split up, and perhaps a second option would be a good idea as well. Remember, if you cannot run, then you must hide. If hiding, put your mobile on silent or vibrate, but certainly silent. Now, if you can see the attackers, then perhaps they can see you. This isn't Hollywood. Walls, counters, upturned tables, vehicles. Look, they're not going to stop modern day bullets. You need to find something substantial to hide behind. E.g., if you do have to use a vehicle for cover, get down on the ground and get behind the wheel. Not the tyre, by the way, the wheel. Now only communicate via text with each other, mobile on silent, and if heading for your meeting point, simply text here when you get there to the other members of the group, as this will obviously stop them worrying and increase their morale as well. Now I think I have to say it's up to you to decide where you go on holiday, of course, and all advice must be tempered with common sense too. So be safe, don't panic, don't let these people win, but you know, you'd be foolish to go into the woods, a wood you've never been in before, in suspected weather that could change without some level of a plan. Well, going on holiday, travelling abroad to a country that you're not familiar with is the same. You need a plan. Thank you.